Welcome to my session, Microsoft 365 Security with Entra, Azure MFA, PIM, and AIP. Thanks to the sponsors, Microsoft, Martello, eNow, SL365, New Wave, Skylink, Kennedy. This is myself, Prabhat Nigam, 3 times MVP, blogger, speaker, author, father, husband, over 20 years in IT, handling global CTO role in Golden 5, and CEO for LA University Foundation. We're going to go back, if you're in LA, we're going to go back to the on-site sessions in LA University Foundation at Microsoft office in Los Angeles. If you're in LA, you're more than welcome to join our meetup. All right, my session is always sponsored by my company because I'm working or speaking in their time, and I have to take time off to spend some time preparing the speaking and everything, and also utilizing the resources from the company. So a little bit about company. Company is gold partner, reseller, GCC high reseller, which is one of the big thing. We are under 60 Microsoft partners, one of the 60 Microsoft partners who can resell to the GCC high. Also developing our own solutions and reselling hardware and everything. Reach out to our team if required anything. Your feedback, don't worry about it. I've copied that to the end as well. So don't have to give the feedback right now. Yeah, I know it's not right. I'm a little late. So yeah, I got negative marking. All right, agenda for today, ID security concerns, Azure MFA, we'll talk about Azure MFA, then we'll talk about privileged identity management, then we'll talk about Azure information protection, and then Microsoft Entra and the little demo. Time is less, so beginning fast. IT security concerns, I'm sure you guys might have been aware about many attacks, cyber attacks, and attacks happen to LAUSD in my city. It's shocking to me always when anyone gets hacked in my city and they're not using our services. Then I say, why were you not using our services? Here you go. Welcome to the hacking world. Or don't use our services, but at least follow our guidelines, what we tell you to do. That's going to help. So even the SHI, the IT company got hacked, and that was, I feel, that was not good. So any SHI contact would have been, hampered. Uber, I'm not worried how much, what they would have hacked and everything for like credit card details and everything, but yeah, they still have to be secure and protected. Accenture was a big one, right? So consider Accenture not trustable anymore after this attack. That's where we are standing. Many places, my company compete with Accenture, so we are competing with Accenture as well. As we have helped Accenture in migrating to different places as well because they don't have any resources or they were lack of resources. So make sure to add this URL to your favorites. Keep going there and check U.S. government site to see what is new and how can you protect yourself. Your friend is your enemy, which means that when it comes to your office laptop or any device, you cannot trust anyone. They might go to some different sites and mistakenly they download some spam, and that can be a hack or anything. So don't share your password. Don't share your devices with untrusted friends who can download some things. Maybe you can share your Wi-Fi, but it's up to you. But yeah, be careful in that area as well. Recommended options to protect your organization. So what we're talking about, what we're going to protect, we have home security. Yes, we have the cameras and everything to protect our home. And we have 911 in the first dialer list, right? So anything happens, we call 911, and home security is already enabled. Anything happens, automatically police will come over and take care of the thieves and everything. But now we're talking about in IT world, identity security, data security, and the endpoint security. These are three main things which are being attacked, either your data or your identity or your endpoint. So to get hacked or to attack either way, the goal is to get the data. what data could be important. Different organizations may have different data importance. For example, if you're developing a something new in science, probably your development project is important, which might not be useful for me as an IT guy, right? But for it might be useful for any other science company which is also trying to develop the data. So that their data is important. Then identity, someone steals my identity, does a lot of purchases in my name or using my credit card, or put my name in different places as oh, I'm Prabhat Nigam and I'm going here, I'm going there, and whose name is getting coming in the crime list is Prabhat Nigam. So I want to protect my identity and say no, this is not me. Come on. So whenever I lost in any of my ID card, I have to report to the right authorities that I've lost it. I haven't happened yet. Um, then endpoint, so anything you're on your laptop, desktop, anything which may get a virus, you want to clean it up or disconnect from the network. That's the key. What endpoint will do? It will also try to leak the data or identity. So primarily, you're trying to protect data or identity, and the way the method you want to protect is also the endpoints. Moving on, recommended security model, you want to, in your IT world, you want to put it encryption layer, then role-based access, so everything encrypt. So basically encrypt your disks, right? That's basic encryption you can think of. Anything after that, application level encryption is not actually the encryption, but it's like a write management. So it's encrypted, but it's not really that encrypted, what we're talking about, the disk encryption. Disk encryption is not recoverable if you don't have the right key. There's no way to decrypt it, and the data will be end up losing even they steal my laptop, for example. The role-based access is important in the organization where if you don't allow that person to do something, then even if they have access to my laptop, they cannot do anything. Conditional access, you want to block the other countries or IPs which you don't want to access or don't need. Limit your connectivity. That's the easiest way to protect as well. That comes level three. Once you move, even if you are in that network, still you can add a privileged identity management. So you're not an admin when you're idle, and then you can also enable privileged access management in Office 365. So in 5 layers of security, you can implement in organization to protect your data. Um, Moving on, the first level of defense is multi-factor authentication. Anything which is logged out, you type the password, you need another way to verify it's you. That's the first level of defense. As soon as this is implemented, this fails, end user cannot, or whoever trying to access cannot access or go beyond this level. So always enable it for any website. I know there's so many places we go, right? So it will be a lot in your authenticator app or anywhere where you are. Moving on, what else we consider in MFA? So it's just not Azure MFA. Just think of beyond Microsoft, right? All the vendors are offering their MFAs. Now we know big three are probably MFA from Azure, then Google MFA, and then there's another maybe Okta, or you want to consider another application which adds your MFAs. But there are more than three. I think I have 7 in my phone on MFA apps, and there are more. So that's keep on adding. So whichever vendor you follow or need it, you just keep on adding. It's just another app which is going to validate it's you. Stop auto login by any malware. This is the key. If you have MFA, malware try to log in, it fails because of MFA. Keep it simple, just put MFA. But I've seen organizations with multiple identities in different platforms. What our guidance is, recommendation is implement single sign-on with MFA. Only one ID you have to protect that way, not 3 or 4 or 5. So consolidate your identity provider to one, use that as your primary identity. log in with the same identity everywhere. It can be Azure MFA, it can be IBM identity, or Google identity, whatever, whichever supports all of your applications. And we will help you do that. Recently, we helped a college which was heavily relying on shibboleth IDP. Now we converted that to ADFS, receives the token, send it to shibboleth, and then authenticate that way. So ADFS is primary now. They can use MFA from Azure. They can use Intune from Azure as well. So that enables more. So we tried weaken up there as well. But implement MFA, try to implement single sign-on, then MFA for all the applications. Now let's go beyond the cloud, right? So we're also talking about this, the on-prem. So on-prem, when you have a VPN, you may want to use another MFA. So that's where the multi-factor Azure MFA can be handy as well. Create a client-to-site VPN, and on the back, Azure site-to-site VPN to get the access to the on-prem. That way you have enabled two VPNs, and your firewall cost on the on-prem may be reduced, because then and VPN cost may be reduced because you're going to be using Azure Firewall and Azure VPN. And that adds another hop. So if you feel you have some suspicious activities still, you can cut off Azure right away, and your on-premise is secure as well. So MFA. Next is privileged identity management. We're going to talk a little about it because this is very common nowadays. Every organization is almost implementing, but it should be implemented. It is You can only select this to be implemented for your admins. It doesn't have to be for all users. It's not required. It will not be useful. So what it does is discover, restrict, and monitor privileged identities. It enforces just-in-time access whenever you need to request to get it. It enforces MFA every time it tries to validate. You still have an active token, or you restart the browser, then you have to probably re-authenticate, or if you restart the machine. So that, or the time has expired to redo the MFA. Then use justification to understand why why you're activating, right, the right reason. And you can also add a manager approval. That's optional, but you can add it. So in which case, in an organization where you think this guy will never log in without a manager approval, then you can add a manager approval. And there could be some guys may want to log in without manager approval, super admins or something. Then you may want to allow, or you want to still keep a approval process. So you can add multiple managers as well who can approve. So one manager of other can approve as well. So that this is privileged identity management. How it works: user activates privilege is then MFA gets activated, and once MFA is done, then it asks you to finish your submission with the right reason. Then it sends an alert to administrators and also the manager to approve it. Once manager approves, you get the access. You retain the privilege during the time you have selected, and then automatically it ends your privilege. In the lifespan view, it looks like this. Administrator requests a privilege, designated approver approves it, and then admin runs the task. The time expires, admin has no longer access to the admin portals. Moving on, talking about Azure Information Protection. This is very crucial and important for your data. So when you're emailing to the right people, maybe you're emailing bank details, or emailing your social security or tax ID, which can be used to steal your identity, you want to encrypt the emails to make sure that right person access the email and get your data. At least to validate once or twice. You can encrypt your data files when you're adding and attaching them to be received by the right person and only accessed and editable by different people. So you can, for example, you can send that same file to two different people. One has read write, another has write to write. So the in other way, the third person cannot do anything, and also that read permission person will only read and not be able to write it or something. Then you can also enable double key encryption under Azure Information Protection, which also protects your patents and everything. So all other secure data which doesn't have any key apart from your key. So Microsoft on backend cannot open it in case you lose it, but that's an extremely protected document. I don't enable double key encryption for everything because you may lose the key and you will lose everything. Or you want to keep it only on the highly classified documents. Then encrypt your SharePoint online. Also, you can encrypt the files in your local NAS. So that's part of your encryption, which is configured on local computer. And anything you open in that computer, it will enable the encryption for that. Moving on. Talking about when we're talking about security, we like to bring our software too, which does the user management from our UI, and that reduces the domain admin count of domain admins in your organization, and also reduces the admin login to domain controllers. Technically, admins are not required to log into domain controllers after they implement our application, which reduces the admin access, which reduces the um, attacks or open port requirements and everything. And also, if there are some LDAP queries that are going to your on-prem, those can be gone, those can be done through our app. They don't have to go to on-prem. So protecting or preventing the access to the servers will be a big key. Everything can be managed from our portal, user group management, as the attributes change and everything. What you cannot do is a Windows patching, right? For that, probably you have to log in once in a month, do the Windows patching, log off, and then obviously you will set up a regular health check, which will run every day and send you the email, DC diag or any other check you're running, that okay, everything's fine on the domain controller, and that's it. I hardly have to log into domain controller. Moving on to Entra. Microsoft recently released Microsoft Entra. I want to say recently released, but last year I think they released 2021, and then it was in beta, and now it's coming up to live format as well. So we'll see how it works in our demo. You see, we're close to close. So time is running very fast. Entra is one admin center for all Azure AD configurations. It also has the verify ID and domains. For example, you go to anywhere in any other place, for example, you visit a customer. How do they know you are Prabhat Nigam or you are Simmer, for example? Anyone goes there, customer may want to verify it's you, they may ask your driver license, in which case that, okay, validate your ID by providing us a driver license or some other way of verification. You probably use Clear at the airport. That's one way of authenticating that this is you, right? And then TSA don't ask for ID. They just say, okay, go ahead. You're the first in the queue. That's what I do all the time. But yeah, going to customers, we don't have the same thing. That there's no way to validate you're part of Code 5 other than that company badge or company business card. So even the badge can be made by anyone, it can be duplicated as well, or business card is again can be duplicated. Uh, the ID, the person exists, but is this you? Is a problem. We receive a lot of spam, and we do not know if that's the right person responding. Many times we visit on site and ask that, is it you who has sent us the $1 million purchase order? Should I process it? Most likely it's no. No, it's me, not me. By the time process order comes, you identify, you don't have a doubt. But if you have doubt, then it's most likely me, not the right person. So verify identity will help in identifying that you're the right person, to evaluate that then you can be trusted. Um, many examples we will see find that they have given the examples to buy some things with a company discount rate. That's the website gives that. But then also in the real time world, example could be that you get a someone to help in your home. For example, a handyman comes to your home from a company and he shows his company ID. You scan it and you validate is the right person, and that then you allow that person to come in and repair your things. That could be one of the examples. Now move to the third portion of the Entra is permissions management. But Entra allows you to manage your identity across the multi-tenants, Azure, Google, Amazon. All identity can be managed or permissions can be managed through Entra to all the clouds. We will see in the demo how much we can do in permissions management, but we'll see. Okay, time to jump to the demo and we'll come out of the full screen and bring my demo URL. Again, demo is sponsored by my company, so I'm using Golden Five resources to demo. So first thing, it's important to know or to see the demo, my permissions, right? So in the morning, I was testing some things. So I took the permissions, but so it shows me my permissions will be ending at 7 p.m. because I took it for 8 hours. So which means I took it around 11, right, for 8 hours. But this is how the permissions looks like. I am also the compliance administrator. I'm also the global administrator. So either the permissions I can use as per my requirement. Right now, I'm activated for global administrator. All right. So this is most likely the privileged identity management. If I want to enable compliance, I can click on activate. This is how it validates my MFA first. MFA has been validated. I can reduce my time to maybe 1 hour for demo. This is my reason. I click on activate. It'll go 3 steps. Activate it. I should have it. Okay, this is how it activated the um, now if I go to active assignment, I should have compliance administrator as well. It'll expire in exact 1 hour, and this is how we do the privilege identity management. Next thing I want to show our demo is a um, Azure MFA. So we have configured Azure MFA for files and emails. If I go to home, I look for sensitivity tab or pointer, which can enable multiple options for all our labels, which we have enabled, that will start showing up. I can use confidentiality, which gives me the option um, to assign the permissions. Um, yeah. So restrict permission to, and I can click on to pick up from my object picker, or I can pick up from the check names. So everyone in my organization can read it. And if I go here and say Harish can change it, it resolves Harish name, and I click OK. Now this document, as everyone can read it, and however Harish can only edit. As simple as that. This document, even if I email to Indrajit, he can only read it as soon as he validates himself as a company employee or company ID. This is MFA. Same thing can be used in the email. If I click on new email, and I can similarly I can assign sensitivity level to confidential. So whoever is going to receive, it is just going to be confidential to this person. He cannot send or forward or print the email. So this is very useful when you communicate some secret documents, agreements, exchange of all those could be useful as well. So PIM and Azure MFA has few options to configure. Like we didn't see that Azure MFA coming in because I already have a token that didn't show up anything there. But I want to show what are the options to configure Azure MFA. So there are 2-3 options we have. For example, one, you go to conditional access and you can configure a policy here. So we have the guest MFA policy or admin's MFA policy. Everyone can be made required MFA. That could be one thing. And this is one place to enable. Another place, if you want to enable employee by employee, then you go to admin center, and from the user properties, you can enable it. However, what is important that this user should have the properties available in the system. For example, their mobile number or the personal ID should be there as well. So I'm gonna pick Simran's ID and see that. So we have enabled it from the conditional access. This part should not be necessary to enable MFA, but this is also an option. We don't enable it for individual, but if you want to enable, you have this option available as well. All right, so now most exciting topic of the day we move on to is Entra, right? Access, if you have the right license, I think Entra is available for everyone. So we try to browse entra.microsoft.com. That should bring everything up and show you and redirect to canary.entra.microsoft.com. And this should bring you this nice view where we have 3 options. If you see on my left, all the features or configurations related here are for Azure Active Directory. You can see identity governance as a privilege identity management inside, access review, entitlement management, protect and secure has conditional access, identity protection, security center, identity secure score. Good to see, always good to see your identity secure score, whatever, good and bad. We are at 87.14%. Isn't it good? I think it's good. But there's always room, unless you hit 100%, there's always room for improvement. That's what we have heard, that's what we have followed. So everywhere we implement the security. MFA configuration, what else you can configure for MFA is also available in this portion. So basically, Azure AD, full, you don't have to go to different URLs and everything to configure any portion of the Azure AD. All right, that's the Azure AD. Moving on to the verified ID, this is the company's verified ID. We have our company's verified ID configured here, and credential, the company domain has to be verified first, then credentials has to be verified, uh, card created, so it will show the card is there, and the organization settings are there. But this is not enough. We also have to have an app created and built and available. So I'm going to bring up another screen here which has the app enabled, and that will that's where. So this is where you go. We This is the backend app we have just created, and you can get a credential. I can scan it and just scan it in my app. Um, See, it sensed it that I've scanned it, and it's giving me the pin. So I enter the pin in my app. Um, then I click next, and this screen moves to the next screen as well. So now, if I want to share my screen, I can go to my Teams and I want to share my screen. What's happening on my phone? That would be important to see as well. If I can see that, if I can share that. See, and there, Microsoft Authenticator. This is what we get. Then it asks me to authenticate my ID with my Golden 5 account, and I just authenticated. There you go. Um, this one. And this is where it comes, and we can just add it like this. And I, for my ID, something wrong, it's not working. If I click on add, I get the error. However, my team has done it, so we have something to show here that how does it look like. This ID, this is for another account, and this one after that. Ajit did the configuration, so Ajit's ID has been added, and this is how it looks like. So this is going to be the, you can verify info, or you can see the activities in the end once it is added there. So this is how your identity will work, right? I'll just stop sharing. The ID verification will work, and this will give you the trust and the option for customers or wherever you're gonna validate your ID. So on my portal, the app is able to identify that my ID has some issue. So it's not accepting that, giving me the error. Now we can talk about little bit talk about permission management. We're hitting the time, so we're gonna just quickly go and see how does permission management look. If you have observed, this is just a link to go to the permission management. When it opens up, you see this is a setting mode right now. So it's running for AWS. Its option is there for AWS, Azure, GCP. I am running and discovery. Discovery takes a lot of time for this to run discovery. Once it ends, then it populates the things, inventories and licenses and everything. Then you can probably populate a dashboard and see, and also run all the reports, which probably you're running through Netrix or another software as well. Right. I'll bring the slides back, and we'll try to finish in quick time now. All right, so the demo has ended. We're going back to the slides and full slide view. As you are here, you can use the discount code, email us, you'll get all discount on Microsoft licensing. Also on all our products, you'll get 20% discount being part of this conference, and you can use this discount code 20x22. If you happen to need a Azure Virtual Desktop, we can discuss and lay out a plan for you. But minimum, it goes to 25 per user. Obviously, that needs some more volume. And this slide brings my connect for more. If you connect with me or want to know more about what's going on in our world, these are some groups. We highly appreciate you joining the first Facebook group, which has over 11,000 users. Also follow our YouTube page and also the LinkedIn groups. And if you are local in Los Angeles, more than welcome to join the Medium groups as well. Again, the feedback is this is the time. Scan this your QR code. Send the event feedback. Send the session feedback. There are two feedbacks available. So please do that for me and for the event, so that we can keep coming back with the nice and great sessions for you all. And I think I did left click. Oh, oh. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining on a nice, beautiful Wednesday. Have a great conference ahead.